Hello everyone and welcome back to Xbox Nation. My name is Fletcher and today I'm diving into one of the most heartfelt adventures that I've played in quite some while, and it's known as Herdling. Now, if the name Okomotive does ring a bell, that's because they're the studio behind the Far series, and they're those incredible games where you piloted massive ships through post-apocalyptic landscapes. This time though, they've flipped the formula, and instead of guiding a vehicle, you're guiding life itself in the form of big fluffy creatures called calicorns. It's a game that on the surface looks rather cute and simple, but trust me, there's a lot going on underneath the hood. In this review, I'm breaking it down by speaking more about the story, the gameplay, world and sound design, along with so much more, to really see if Herdling deserves your time and attention. So with that, let's dive right into this unique and stunning indie experience. Herdling's story is quite hard to explain because it's not just about dialogue or even cutscenes. It's actually more about the feeling that you'll experience throughout your playthrough. In this one, you play as a young girl who discovers a lone calicorn in a crumbling city. From there, you slowly gather a herd and lead them through a dying and decaying world. If I said the story only consisted of the following, you're a girl herding magical animals towards a destination, then that would be technically true, but it would miss the point of this game entirely. It would be like saying The Lord of the Rings is about a guy who throws a ring into a volcano. Technically it is true, but you completely miss the scale, the friendships, and the emotional journey along the way. What makes Herdling so special though is the bonds that you make. These calicorns don't just follow you, they really do trust you. You ultimately become their guardian, their guide, and their only hope in this world. The game doesn't spoon feed you the meaning of this journey. Instead, it lets you feel it through small gestures, quiet moments, and the way your herd reacts to the world around them. By the end, the emotional weight really does land, and it really stuck with me long after those credits rolled. At its core, Herdling is rather simple. You guide your herd safely from point A to point B. You do this with a stick and it projects a glowing light in front of you, and that sort of steers the calicorns while protecting them from danger, which could be environmental to other potential dangers. Movement does feel quite intuitive once you get used to it. You hold the RT button to lead your herd, you can then gallop, slow down and perform a few basic maneuvers. That said, I'll be pretty honest with you, the controls aren't perfect. Sometimes the herd doesn't respond to how you expect, and camera angles occasionally do work against you, and those moments can break the overall immersion. It's not a deal breaker by any means, but it does take some adjustment, and I got the grasp of the controls about 1 hour into my overall playthrough. What is quite cool though is that the game does mix in some light environmental puzzles into the overall experience. Most of them are pretty simple out the gate, that being moving objects, finding switches, and guiding your herd past small obstacles. They're not meant to really stump you, more to add to the variety while keeping the flow rather gentle and meditative. Personally, I would have liked to see a little bit more depth here, but I do understand that the developer's choice to keep things more accessible and rather calming. I will say though, yes, there are enemies here, or at least threats to your herd. These bird-like predators that you encounter a few times in Herdling will be lurking in certain areas that you do stumble across. These sections aren't overly complex either, but they do break up the serenity with moments of tension. Sneaking your herd past nests while holding your breath does add another danger to keep things engaging, and it's done here pretty well. Now, this is where Herdling absolutely shines. The world here is utterly breathtaking. From ruined cities overtaken by nature, to dark forest routes, to frozen glaciers that feel both haunting and majestic, every environment here is a painting in motion. Okomotive clearly poured their souls into the art direction. The landscapes are layered with tons of atmosphere, from eerie mist curling through trees, towering cliffs that make your herd feel tiny, and then sudden transitions between light and dark that keep the journey really fresh. What's impressive though is how the world itself truly tells a story. There's no text logs, no heavy exposition. Instead, it's the ruins that you pass, the broken machinery and the empty homes, and they're silent reminders of a world that once thrived. Much like games like Jusant or the earlier Far titles, the narrative really is baked into the overall environment, and it really does reward us players who slow down and take it all in. Honestly, I lost count of how many times I stopped to admire the view. It really is that blimmin' good. If the visuals are the canvas, then the sound is the paint that utterly completes it. The orchestral soundtrack is utterly phenomenal, from swelling at the right moments, quiet and reflective when needed, and utterly soaring when you're leading your herd across the vast landscapes. I cannot recommend this enough, play Herdling with your headphones. The small details do elevate the immersion as well, from the creak of ice beneath your feet, owls calling in distant forests, and the subtle grunts and coos from your own calicorns. These aren't just background noises either, they make the world feel truly alive, and honestly, I don't think I've heard better sound design in a game this current year. I will say that when the music does kick in and you're at the crest of a mountain or escaping danger, it's bloody unforgettable. Honestly, the sound design alone does deserve incredible amounts of praise, and if it doesn't get an award at the Game Awards this year for sound design, then I'll be truly shocked. On the technical side, Herdling runs pretty smoothly. In my playthrough, I didn't encounter any major bugs, crashes, or even performance drops. I was playing this game on my PC and not an Xbox console, which is certainly a shame, but that's due to the review codes not being currently available for Xbox until its launch. However, I did try it on both a laptop GPU, which is less powerful than my Series X, and also my newly built PC with a 9060 XT, and it runs pretty flawlessly. That said, there were minor hiccups here and there. Sometimes calicorns would glitch out of formation, or an environmental trigger wouldn't activate until I restarted the game. These aren't game breaking by any means, but it's still worth noting as you might stumble across a gripe or two throughout your experience. Overall though, it's a pretty stable game, and I have no doubt it'll really run well on our Xbox consoles. Now, let's talk about the elephant in the room, and that's the length of Herdling overall. My first playthrough clocked in at just under 3 hours, and that is a really short experience. When the game does retail for $25, that's a tough sell for any players in today's gaming market. If you're on Xbox Game Pass, the decision is easy. Download it, experience it, and let it move it in ways that you've never expected. However, if you are buying this one outright, I'd say weigh your expectations. Herdling is a truly special game, but not a long adventure. If length versus cost is really important to you, then maybe wait for a sale on this one. That being said, I really don't regret my time with this one bit. It's emotional, gorgeous, and truly one of Okamotive's best works. Short as it is, it's also truly unforgettable. So, do I recommend Herdling? Well, yes, with the caveat that it's a short, premium-priced experience. But if you're looking for a serene, heartfelt adventure with stunning visuals and one of the best soundscapes I've heard all year, then you owe it yourself to give this one a shot. The game stuck with me long after the credits rolled, and I think many of you will really enjoy this overall experience. Thanks so much for watching this review, and let me know in the comments if you'll be herding your own calicorns, and also hit that like button if you did enjoy. If you want to hear more reviews coming soon, or just Xbox content in general every single day, then please support the channel and subscribe down below. Whilst you're here though, and if you want to check out another one of my reviews, why don't you check out Echoes of the End? I recently got my hands on with this game thanks to Deep Silver, and it's one incredible indie game that you won't want to miss.